Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Summary. I'm your host, Kyle, without my partner in crime today, Steven. Steven's on vacation, but, rightly so. It's good for him to miss the last stream with Jurgen Klopp as manager. Honestly, I don't know what to say too much today, guys, just to be completely genuine and authentic with you guys. This is the first time that I've come on the show, really, where I don't have like an actual game plan of what I want to talk about. It's kind of just, I don't know, it's a little bit weird just kind of seeing all the build up to this, right? Like seeing Jurgen Klopp is actually leaving. He's actually leaving the club. And I guess it's a good thing that he's not going somewhere else, right? I guess that's a good thing. But the fact that he's still leaving the club and we're starting brand new and all these memories that we've made as a club under him over the last 8 years. For me, that's kind of the weirdest part, the hardest part, like watching all of these clips and these reels and these videos, these interviews that the club and fans are putting together and realizing that it's actually over. Like the man's gone. The man's leaving today. And it's sad, right, Liz? But it's kind of a good thing, right? If we want to look at this in a positive light, all good things come to an end. And I think there have been struggles over the last couple of years in the approach that Jurgen Klopp's team has taken to the game has not quite been as efficient as it has been in years past. And I'm not going to wrap this up in a negative wrapping, but I just want to kind of bring up an example, just like how well we adjusted when we brought in Van Dijk and Allison, right? And how well that high line and that defense adjusted, going from like 44 goals allowed in per season to like 20, right? And then you go and you look at the table this year, we're back up to 41 allowed in right now, not including today. And you're like, maybe it is time for a change in philosophy. Maybe these players are tired. Maybe we need some change in the club. But aside from that, guys, I kind of want to just kind of go through and go down memory lane today with Jurgen Klopp. You guys share some fun memories, and we'll go over to the chat and say good morning to everyone. Bonkers. Liz has been a channel member for 41 months, Liz. Liz, that's 3.5 years. That's unbelievable. 3.5 years. Holy shit, Liz. Absolute legend. Thank you very much. Bonker says, win the game, it will be emotional. And the thing about the game today, right, it seems like we play Wolves on the last day of the season every single season. The game doesn't matter. What matters is it's Jurgen Klopp's last day. The camera's going to be on him all match, right? Yeah, go play well. Send him out with a win. Who gives a shit about the game? Really, I couldn't care less. I'm more so focused on Jurgen Klopp, right? I'm more so focused on, is this man going to be able to make it through the day without crying? Like the entire time? He's going to be crying when he walks down onto the pitch. Who knows what kind of tribute they have set up for him? It's going to be a very emotional day. And I'm just, honestly, guys, I was just scrolling through Twitter and I was just seeing everything that pops up. And I kind of favorited everything. The first thing that's pretty, we're just going to go down this. Because again, guys, I told you, I don't know what to talk about today. We can preview Wolves, but no one wants to really do that. No one cares. Everyone's thinking about Klopp today. So I'm just going to kind of go up and just kind of chat about this, right? The fact that our new manager, Arne Slot, has played against Van Dijk is kind of insane when you guys think about it. Aaron, what's going on, man? He's played against Van Dijk. So you got that going for you, right? With Arne Slot. Now, the good thing about that is a young manager, right? New ideas. You see a lot of success from new managers recently with the likes of, God, my brain is blanking now. Mikel Arteta is a good example of a young manager. Xabi Alonso, just an invincible season at Bayern Leverkusen. That's absolutely incredible that he was able to do that. Top 5 appearances in the Klopp era. If you ask me to really, this is a great tweet. This is a great thread right here. Top 5 appearance makers of the Klopp era. And I'm taking Anfield edition at their word here because I did not do the research for this. Roberto Firmino, 355. Are we surprised? Really? Bobby, an absolute legend. Mo Salah, 348. Wow. James frickin' Milner at 323. Followed by Trent Alexander-Arnold at 309 and Jordan Henderson at 304, guys. The top 5 goal scorers of the Klopp era, Sadio Mane coming in at second surprised me a little bit. But then I thought, well, no, that actually makes sense because who the hell else is scoring goals, right? Bobby Firmino, 111, right? And Mo Salah, 211. That's just, imagine where we would be without Mo Salah. And yeah, I slander him from time to time, just not in a bad way, but just more of a critical way. Just like, I'd like to see him do better with this. The man, this is going to be his 3rd season, unless he scores a bunch of goals today, this is only his 3rd season at Liverpool where he hasn't gotten 20 goals. Think about that for a second. How hard it is to do to get 20 goals. The man is a Liverpool legend. And then of course you got Diogo Jota is number 4 on that list with 56. Imagine if he didn't have 2-month injuries at a time since he's gotten to the club. What is this? His 3rd year at the club? 4th year at the club? I want to say it's his 4th year. Imagine how many goals I think Diogo Jota would be over 100 goals. I think he'd be right near Roberto Firmino, who, by the way, is the all-time leading Brazilian in the Premier League of goals. Divock Origi. Could you believe that? That Divock Origi is number 5 on that list at 41? Is that not the craziest thing you've ever seen? Stellar, Hannah, what's going on, everyone? Good morning. How's everyone feeling? Is that not the craziest thing you've ever seen, guys? That's so interesting to me. Assist makers, Mo Salah. Talk about your playmakers how you want. I'm surprised Firmino isn't higher on this list, to be honest. James Milner got 25% of his assists in one season under Klopp. Mo Salah, 89 assists. Trent, 81. Firmino, 75. Robbo, 65. James Milner, 44. That shows the prolificness, if that's even a word, of the wide back attack. With Trent at 81 assists and Andrew Robertson at 65. Wow. Guys. Now let's get into some weird stuff. All right. Shout out to everyone. I'm almost done with the Bobby memoir, by the way. Really good book. There's a lot of very interesting stuff in there that I'll probably chat about here because, like I told you guys at the very beginning of the show, this is the very first time I haven't had like an agenda. It's just more like, wow, I have to do a show today, and it's Klopp's last day. What am I going to talk about that's going to be kind of positive and fun and interesting? That's not just Klopp's leaving. And we're honestly just winging it at this point. But Alexis McAllister and Trent, by the way, are both being linked with moves to Real Madrid. Trent, I was talking about this with a buddy of mine who's a big Liverpool fan yesterday, and I brought up the fact that he's being linked Trent's being linked with Real Madrid. With Michael Edwards as CEO now, the fans would absolutely turn on him if he made a deal for Trent Alexander-Arnold to go to Real Madrid. Am I wrong in saying that? Let me know. Am I wrong for saying that? On the flip side of that, if you sell Trent to Madrid, there is zero chance you're accepting anything under the fee we got for Felipe Coutinho. Zero chance. In fact, I would go as high as saying you don't accept anything under 150. So let me just kick you guys a scenario right now. You know Salah's being linked with leaving, right? I don't sell Trent personally, but let me just kick you guys a scenario. You sell Trent for 150 and you sell Mo Salah for 150. You have 300 million to play with. That's if you can get 150 for Salah, which I think you probably could. His age, maybe not. Maybe you can get like 100 for him. I don't know. But let's be super optimistic. And if you hear dogs barking in the background, we're watching my in-laws' dog. So they're all playing. All right. 300 for 2 players with a new manager coming in, that is an amazing bunch to work with. Imagine the players you could bring in. And if Trent leaves, right, you're automatically thinking we're bringing in Gertruda. You're automatically thinking we're bringing Ignacio in, maybe even like Hickapy, right? Players like this. But I'm really curious, guys, and I'll talk about Alexis McAllister in a minute. I know I kind of pulled him up. Do you see Trent leaving the club? This is a player that was born and bred a Liverpool player, Liverpool fan, lives in the city, breathes the city. Of any player aside from Steven Gerrard, you look at Trent as like this kid is a red through and through. I cannot see a world where he leaves the club. I cannot see a world where he leaves the club. And LFC Aaron here agrees. Actually, no, I can see Trent leaving. Depends whether Trent wants to go. Well, that's kind of goes without saying. Sir Oswald, good to see you, man. Trent will only leave if the manager wants to sell him. And this is going to bring me to my other point, guys, real quick. And then we'll come back to Alexis here. All right. Trent is in a no man's land right now. Okay, this season and last season was the first time he's been given the freedom to play that midfield role, and not even his true CM role, right? More so of a pivot, a DM almost, right? Over the last 2 seasons under Klopp. And we've seen what it can really do. Okay? Here's my thing, guys. Say what you want. Trent is not a good defender. Never has been. And he's a great player. He's a great footballer, but he is a playmaker. That is his role. He is a playmaking player, regardless if he's playing right back or midfield. He's a playmaker. And now with a new manager coming in, where is this new manager going to play him? Right? Is the manager going to look at it as, oh, maybe I see Trent as a pure midfielder? I can't see a world where that happens. I really can't. I think Klopp was stretching his philosophy by even just playing Trent in this hybrid role. I don't know if Trent can be a right back under this new manager, and that's the only thing that makes me think maybe he will leave. What will happen to Trent? And I saw that as well, Stellar. Remember when Agent Trent was on the case trying to recruit Bellingham to the club? I just thought to myself, maybe these Real Madrid links hold some water because of his friendship with Jude Bellingham. But I also don't think that because you're friends with one person, you go to a club. That doesn't make much sense to me. But going back to the Trent thing, what do you guys think about him needing to be in a defined role in order to really move forward under a new manager? Because Klopp gave him the freedom. Or not even the freedom. Let's say he gave him the opportunity. He said, all right, Trent, you can play right back. Okay? At what? How old was he? 18 years old? 17? He was probably 18 when he first started. You saw this kid who was a midfielder through his academy days. And he saw an opportunity to say, look, I can jump in at right back. Just give me the chance and I'll play. And you saw this player who became, we showed you the stats. The guy has 81 assists from right back. Unheard of. Right? Granted, Robbo's got 65 as well. But now, but you've seen the defensive lapses, right? And if we're going to improve on this defense that's been very leaky the last 2 seasons, right? Really hasn't been that great defense we've seen, from 2017 to 2021 or 2018 to 2021. Where does Trent go? Is it that much of a change where Trent says, I just need to leave the club altogether? I don't think so. I think Trent has too much pride and love for the city of Liverpool and the team to go. It does not happen for me. The only way it happens, and I know one of you said under here, the only way it happens is if Arne Slot comes in and just flat out says, I can't use you, right? I think it would be better if you left. I don't want you, which is such a harsh thing to say, right? And that would definitely rub fans the wrong way. If it comes out in the media that Arne Slot comes in and immediately says to your vice captain, a Liverpudlian, a kid who grew up breathing, eating, sleeping Liverpool Football Club, I can't use you, I don't need you. No respect. I ain't got no respect. But then we go to the midfield argument. All right, and Victor, thanks for confirming 18, my man. You go to midfield with Trent. Let's start out with a pivot, right? Kid can't defend. I'm sorry, but he can't. He has good moments in defending, still have good games in defense, right? He he's not a defensive player, guys. He I think it's not that it's not something he can't work on because we've seen him have periods of good defensive play. But every so often, and more often than not, you'll see it sneak through. You'll see, oh, Trent didn't mark that man at the far post and they scored. Oh, he's getting dribbled by way too easily. He's caught up the pitch. Granted, he's an attacking player. And there's just Konate's pulled out wide or Kwanzaa's pulled out wide to help. And then you got Endo trying to fill in, guarding the near post, and someone scores. It's just so often that happens. And for me, you take him out of right back, he's likely going to be a much more effective player on both ends of the pitch, box to box, if you will, in the midfield. But then who loses playing time? McAllister? Maybe Endo goes back to Germany. I've seen a lot of links with that, right? I can see that as a way more plausible situation of Endo going back to Germany. For me, if you're going to play in that situation without Endo, you're moving Trent to the midfield. I'm going to ask you guys, who plays in that midfield? Is McAllister going back to the 6? Trent, and then Soboslai? McAllister, Trent, Jones? Right? We know Sloat plays a 4-2-3-1. By the way, I'm saying every single name under the sun. I don't know if his name is Slot, Sloot, Slut, or Schlut. Someone's got to tell me. Is it Arn or Arnier? I think Arnier sounds cooler. But let me just stop my rant for a minute. Let's go over to the chat, see what everyone's saying here. LFC Aaron says Sloat plays a hybrid right back as well. If we get Frimpong as his replacement. So there's Gutruda and Frimpong that I'm seeing as the two links. And I like those. You don't think it's Slut? I think it might be Slut. I'm going to start calling my man Slut. I don't think Trent is that bad at defense. Remember, he's often against some of the best attackers in the world. And, I want to support the kid. I want to say he's a decent defender. But the fact of the matter is, his instinct is not defending. His entire life, up until he was probably 17, 18, was not a defensive mindset. He has built his footballing foundation on playmaking. And so when you put that as a right back, you really realize the genius of Jurgen Klopp being able to play these wide playmaking roles and be so successful at it. It was a godsend to have Trent come in because before Trent, Nathaniel Klein, yeah, he could get up the right side, but he's not coming into midfield. He's not dribbling around guys. He doesn't have a left-footed cross. Right? Completely different. It was amazing to see that transformation. Victor says Trent is clear of Frimpong. Interesting. And I don't want to comment on who's better in that sense because I only know who Frimpong is. I don't watch his game. Oh boy, what's going on, man? I haven't seen you in a while. Trent is not a captain. He lacks drive to be the captain material just because he is a Scouser. And I'm going to have to go and say that's a hot take. And not so much that he's not a captain, but he lacks the drive to be the captain. Look, a lot of times you'll see, especially on the international level, the best player gets the captain's armband, regardless if they have the drive or the leadership capabilities or whatever. Okay. I talked about this 2 weeks ago, actually, maybe even last week. No, no, not last week. We didn't have a show last week. 2 weeks ago. I think Trent is absolutely captain material. Okay. I think you don't have to be very vocal and very, authoritarian to be a captain. I don't think that. I think you need to have the right attitude. And this is what I was talking about 2 weeks ago with Van Dyke. Hendo was the type of captain that was vocal, that was on your ass the entire game, right? He was dictating play vocally. Whereas Van Dyke, maybe he's not as loud, right? He's kind of calm and collected, which is great. You want to feed off that. But when something goes wrong, Van Dyke's throwing his hands up and he's looking at other players going, right? I fucking hate that. Okay. That is the last thing I want to see in a captain. I've never seen Trent do that. I never saw Hendo do that. Okay. Maybe you put your head down for a second, but then you pick it up and you're saying, let's go, boys. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. I've seen Trent put his head down before and kind of have bad body language, but I've never, ever seen him throw his hands up and say, like, what are you doing to other players? And Van Dyke does that. I hate that. I hate that. And it's just not my cup of tea. Maybe some people like that, like holding people accountable style of leadership. Trent absolutely has the ability to be a captain. Absolutely has the ability to be a captain. Ross, what's going on, man? Of course he has the drive. The coaches and manager thought so. And that's another thing. Unless you're inside the club, we're never going to know, right? But the coaches and the managers, they trusted him with the vice captaincy. And I thought Virgil is the right call to be the other captain, right? Even if I don't like sometimes his body language and how he deals with adversity on the pitch, I still think he's the right man for the job. And Liz, thank you very much for gifting a membership. Liz, by the way, has been a member for 41 months, guys. And Ross, shout out to you, another channel member. Shout out to everyone in here as well. Can Kiwi here. I think he will thrive with the responsibility. Guys, another thing we have to look forward to is the honeymoon era under a new manager. Because there is going to be some, I don't want to say depression because that's not the right word, but there's going to be a period after Klopp leaves of just like, damn, what are we going to do now? Right? There's that uncertainty, that fear of the unknown. Luckily, it's going into an off season. Slot's going to have an entire preseason, okay, to prepare. He's got Michael Edwards leading the way, and the players have 3 months to adjust. Not even 3, 2, whatever. That is so crucial. So crucial. And I think that's going to work in our favor because the fans, the city, the league, the club need time to adjust. They need that grace period from when you go from Jurgen Klopp to Arne Slot. That was kind of cool. I should be a rapper. They need that adjustment period. All right. By the way, what's that rhyme called when it's not a full rhyme? It's not like bat cat, but it's like they kind of sound the same, like Klopp slot. There's a word for that. Please let me know. Liz is all knowing, very wise. Liz has been here from the very beginning, man. Jordan, what's going on, man? I haven't seen you in a while. We'll be fine. I really want to see what Slot will do with some of these players we have lost confidence in. And Jordan, specifically, what players are you referring to? Soboslai is one of them. I told you guys they're very. I was talking with a Liverpool fan around here. A half rhyme. Okay. Thanks, guys. Shit. What players have you guys lost confidence in, if any? There's 2 players that immediately come to mind that are really on the fence for me. One is Darwin and one is Soboslai. Now, statistically, you look at Darwin, you say, "Oh, that's fine." But when I was talking to my buddy, He said, we had two Kanate. That's a good one. I was thinking that as well. Trent, very interesting. Gravenberch, guys, you want to know what's crazy? I legitimately forget Gravenberch plays for the club every single time we talk about our midfield. That's a bad sign. Okay, because Gravenberch has the highest ceiling, I think, of anyone on the team, aside from maybe Darwin. But the thing is, we've seen Darwin's brilliance. We haven't seen Gravenberch's brilliance. He's had maybe 2 or 3 great games since he's been here. Everything else has just been average. The guy is 6'3", 21 or 22, and plays midfield. Is the potential of that guy is so high, and I need to see it fulfilled. And maybe having a Dutch manager, maybe that helps. Maybe a new manager. I don't know. But I agree, Ross. This is exactly what I was just getting at with the Dutch aspect. I think Slot transforms Gravenberch and Gakpo. I really do. Jordan, Gary, what's going on, man? Sobo, Gravenberch, Gakpo, and Darwin. See, I'm taking Gakpo out of there, but I agree with every other one. I think Gakpo had a 5-game stretch where he was subbed on and did nothing. Very questionable. Very questionable. But aside from that, Gakpo, I've been so impressed with Gakpo since he's come in. I think Gakpo is one of the most underrated forwards we have. And I'll die on that hill. I think Gakpo has so much skill. And you take away, you think about that skill, and then you think about his size. He's 6'4", and he's an attacking winger. How many 6 foot? I mean, I know we play him in the 9 a lot, the false 9, but that man is like much more effective from the wing. How many 6'4" wingers can you think of? How many 6'2" wingers can you think of? Size is a very big thing when it comes to football, because when you're low to the ground, you have a low stature, your strides are shorter, everything's quicker, there's more, everything is quicker, and being quick in an attacking or even a midfield role is crucial. When you find someone that's 6'4" and that can perform like Gakpo can, and can dribble like Gakpo can, and can make quick decisions, that is a very rare thing to find. Okay? That's just my thoughts on it. But going back to the other players, actually, no, there's a lot of chats in here I want to get to. Sir Oswald says no confidence in the referees or VAR. That's very interesting that the league's voting on VAR, by the way. And oh boy, not him says Diaz, or someone said Diaz, but oh boy, not him's commenting on this. I had a great conversation with this buddy of mine. He's a huge Liverpool fan, and we don't really talk. It's just my wife and his fiance are pretty close. We'll only see each other at get-togethers and stuff. But he had some really good points, but our viewpoints were a little bit opposite. For example, he is very much in the boat like Darwin needs to be better. Like Darwin is just not it, man. Darwin, he has so much talent, but he doesn't convert his chances. And I said, okay, let me hit you with a counter argument. What if I told you that Darwin has 18 goals and 13 assists this year? And he said, holy crap, really? So on paper, you're like, damn, Darwin's actually pretty good. But then you look at the other stuff. You look at the fact he's hit the post 9 or 10 times. And you look at those chances. And you look at how broad day, open net these chances are. And you're like, damn, he's got to be better. And we're thinking, or we're kind of talking it out, and we're like, Darwin is this guy that can be, he's not an in the middle of the road player. He's either having the most amazing game, scoring the most prolific goals ever. Think of the Real Madrid flick. Think of the goal against Fulham, his very first game at the club. Think about his curler against Bournemouth, right? Think about those goals. But then you think about the chances he's missed. He dribbles around the keeper against Tottenham and hits the post, right? Even going back to the Newcastle goals, comes on, scores 2 late Newcastle goals across the goalkeeper. Like, he's either amazing or shit. He needs to just develop and find that consistency. That is the only thing that's critical of Darwin Nunez. You can't get rid of him. Okay. But then you go to these other players, Luis Diaz, for example. We were talking about Luis Diaz, guys. Listen to this. Okay. I've brought this up ever since I saw the statistic. He told me, he said, I'm not really impressed with Diaz. And I said, I'm so glad you said that because I think a lot of people look at Diaz as being, they're comparing him to Mane. I'm comparing him to Mane. The big difference is, and you guys saw the statistics, Mane scored 100 and what was it, 20 goals under Jurgen Klopp. Mane can dribble by people. He could. That was just, he was so electric and agile and explosive. Okay? Not only does Luis Diaz have the lowest conversion rate of anyone on the team, but when he gets the ball, guys, he doesn't do anything with it. Am I the only one who sees this, guys? I really I don't know why. People will look at Gakpo's poor run of 5 games and they'll just be like, he is not good enough for the club. Nobody talks about Diaz. And is it because he passes the eye test? Is it because he's a shifty and shaky winger? Guys, Diaz has like 8 goals this year, and he starts every game for the most part. Like, he is a consistent starter in this team. And nobody talks about how this guy does not dribble by people. Okay? He'll dribble just back into the middle channels on his right foot. He'll get around people that way, but then he'll lay it off. I don't think Luis Diaz is it. And we're talking about all these other guys, McAllister being linked with Real Madrid and Trent. I think you get rid of Diaz. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. No one's talking about Diaz except for a couple people in here. So, what do you guys think about that? Oh, Gakpo needs to play on the left. Do we think Vandenberg features in slots? Ooh, these are the questions that need to be asked, Ross. I think when you sell Salah, you start Vandenberg on the right wing. Okay? You don't need to bring in anyone else. You start Vandenberg on the right wing, and I think we win the quadruple. Okay? Graham, what's up? Says I fell asleep before the Man United game and I've just woken up. Are we still top of the league? Man, yeah, we're top of the league. Don't look at the table, and definitely don't watch the game today. Definitely don't watch the game today. Alexander, what's going on? Yeah, scrap VAR. The refs are too incompetent, hiding their mistakes more than do correct. There's a lot of talk about the inconsistency and stuff like that. Jordan Welch here. I agree, Kyle. I like Gakpo on the left. Graf, for me, should be our DM in slots since he doesn't really play a destroyer in this team. What I'm worried, like size-wise, he could definitely play the role. For me, I just don't know if Gravenberch has those defensive skills, those defensive instincts. Kind of the same thing I was thinking about with Trent. Maybe he does. I don't know. Did he play DM at Ajax? Right? At Bayern, I thought, did he play DM? I feel like he has the size to be a DM, but I think he's more of a box to box, if not a 10, honestly. But the size, I just think for the Premier League, if he put on some muscle mass and he played a true DM, I think Gravenberch could cause some problems, but I just don't know if he has those abilities. And this is the issue, right? He has a lot of hustle. People will always look past the skill if you have hustle, and I love that because I am very much in that boat too. I will give you the benefit of the doubt if you show me you're trying, right? But at a certain point, you got to question it. Look at Darwin. Darwin, chaotic, effort, love it. Fans love him. I love him. Everyone loves Darwin. But at some point, effort can only take you so far. You got to convert chances where there's no goalkeeper in the net. Right? But the thing about Darwin is he's still productive. He's just so damn inconsistent, right? And I look at the stats. I'm like, look, Darwin, you had an incredible season on paper. You're fine. I'll give you another season under Slot. Let's see what you can do. Let's see how Slot plays you. Diaz, on the other hand, bro, I don't know. And oh boy says the same exact thing here. Says Diaz, run, and not end product, not good enough. He can't even assist. Bro, the dude has like 3 assists. That's another thing, man. Why is no one talking about this? I mean, for the amount that Diaz played, I'm just gonna pull it up. I'm just gonna pull it up, guys, because it's kind of absurd. All right, we're gonna go Luis Diaz. Here we go. All right, 36 matches played in the Premier League this year. He has a decent rating. 7.3 is his rating. 8 goals, 5 assists. 8 goals, 5 assists in 36 matches as a winger. Okay, let's look at some comparable players there, right? No. Let's just go to the other stats, okay? He started in 31 games, okay? 4 of his 8 goals, have come inside the 6-yard area. So tap-ins. 4. The other 4 have come just outside the 6-yard area, with his furthest being 12 yards near the penalty spot. That's fine. I mean, I'm just pointing out that fact, okay? Now, his expected goals, 11.4. Okay? He has 90 shots. 90. 31 on target. That's a 33% accuracy, okay? He has more assists than his expected assists, so that's pretty good. He has a decent pass accuracy. His long ball accuracy is actually really good. It's 80%. That's actually pretty insane. 6 successful crosses. 6. He's a winger. He has 6 successful crosses. Look, I'm a stat guy. I know a lot of people aren't, but I'm looking at these stats and I'm just like, what? His dribble success is 55.2. 55.2, man. All right. I'm just gonna let's look at another player just for comparison, right? Let's see. Let's just look at Gakpo, right? Let's look at Salah. No, that's not a good comparison either. Who's another left winger we can look at, right? Let's I don't know. Let's look at Grealish. Okay? That is not a good comparison. Never mind. I'm trying to think. John, what's going on, man? A lot of people would sell Diaz. Yeah, and guys, forgive me. I just want to hammer this point home. Let's just take Gakpo, for example, okay? Okay, so Cody Gakpo, same exact stats as Luis Diaz, okay? He's only started 16 matches, which is half of what Diaz has started. His rating is lower. It's 7.02. He's played in 34 matches, though. Cody Gakpo, pretty similar in terms of goals. He's had some goals from deeper in the box. That's good. Okay. His expected goals are right at 8. Okay, so he's right on target with that. Anthony, well, that's not a good one. He's a right winger. Okay. So 61 shots on target, 23. Okay, so now that I'm looking at this, it's actually about the same. He has way more expected assists, way more assists than expected assists. 5 assists for Cody Gakpo, 2.32 expected assists. Pass accuracy is lower. Long ball accuracy is exactly the same. He's created 24 chances. Cody Gakpo also has 6 successful crosses. Cody Gakpo's dribble success is higher than Luis Diaz at 66%. I want to look at the dispossessed thing because I feel like Luis Diaz loses the ball a lot, but maybe I'm crazy. Okay, I'm going over to the stats. Let me bring it up. Bro, this is what we were talking about yesterday. Luis Diaz has been dispossessed 71 times. 71 times. That's the bottom 3% in the Premier League. He's been dispossessed 71 times. Okay? I'm going to bring up another winger that let's just look at let's take a really bad team, Sheffield United, okay? I can almost guarantee you no one's that high. Let's go to Sheffield United. Let's go to some of their players. Let's go to Yassar Larouchi's on their team. I forgot about that. All right, let's go to Brereton Diaz. Okay. He's on loan there. Okay. He's in the bottom and everything, bro. He's in the bottom and everything. Okay. He's only been dispossessed 15 times. He's only been dispossessed 15 times. Okay. I bet you guys didn't even know who that was. Let's go to Anthony. All right. Let's go to Anthony. Where's Anthony at? Here we go. Anthony. Okay, because we brought up Anthony. The man has one goal and it's against us. That is. Ugh! Hate this guy. He's awful. Look at these. Look at these stats if you guys can see them. All red, all orange. Terrible. Oyvind, what's up, bro? All right. He's only been dispossessed 19 times. Okay. He has 29 matches under his belt. He's played over 1,300 minutes. He's only been dispossessed 19 times. Luis Diaz has been dispossessed 71 times. Let's see how many successful crosses he has. 4. 4 successful crosses. For reference, Luis Diaz has 6. Why is no one talking about this, man? Like, I'm not trying to be like call out Diaz. I'm just saying, like, let's hold him accountable. All right, I'm done with talking about Diaz, but I just want everyone to understand Michael Ramsey. What's up, you piece of rubbish? I sounded like such a loser saying that. John Summers here. Hi, do you think we need a quality CDM to improve the team and squad? So I think Endo is a great player. There are links with him going back to Germany, and if that were the case, yes, we absolutely do, because I don't want McAllister to be playing that DM role. I really want to utilize McAllister for the great box-to-box and even playmaking midfielder that he is. So in that sense, I think we do need a CDM. There's a lot of options out there, right? But for a CDM is a very specialized role. And the fact of the matter is, we know Slot can play a 4-3-3, but we also know he can play a 4-2-3-1. And so if you have a double pivot, you do kind of take away some of the pressure of just being a one person holding midfield. We need to see what kind of philosophy Slot brings to this Liverpool team, because it's going to be his same philosophy, but it's going to have to be tweaked to fit the players we have. We're being linked with Coop Miners. I don't even know if Coop Miners is a true DM, but DM is a question. And if Endo leaves, there is a huge question mark there. You can talk about Tyler Morton. That's Bacetic. You can look at players like that. Someone brought up Gravenberch playing in the DM. I just don't know what the plan is yet. But great point to look at in that sense. Is Ryan Brewster still with Sheffield United? I believe he is. Let's see. Ross says we need an improvement on Endo or two. And if we're talking about Endo, let's talk about Endo, because Endo has had a really good season for us. Not as much lately, but Endo reminds me of Wijnaldum. Tell me I'm wrong. He reminds me of Wijnaldum. So consistent, bro. In fact, let me just talk on Wijnaldum for a second. If we're talking Klopp's best 11, Wijnaldum's in that midfield. Spence, what's up, man? I don't think anyone is. I really don't. Wijnaldum is in that starting 11. Best 11 under Klopp. Let me know what you guys think. Give me your best 11. He's in there, man. I think it's Wijnaldum, Fabinho, and Coutinho. Wijnaldum, Fabinho, Coutinho for me. And then the back, you got Allison, Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, Robbo, obviously. The front three, it's going to be our tried and true front three. Salah, Mane, Firmino. For me, there's no question, right? Wijnaldum and Endo to me are very similar players. They bring you consistency. They're rarely injured. And they do the work that isn't flashy. They're not going to dribble around people, but they're going to hold on to possession of the ball. They're not going to score goals or get a lot of assists, but they're going to make tackles. They're going to cover players when they're pulled out wide. They're going to be there for a layoff pass. They're going to get rid of the ball quick. Like, those things to me are so important. And I think we lose a lot if you lose Endo. But there's tons of other play. If we can find Endo from Stuttgart that no one knew who he was before we brought him in, there's definitely players out there you can get that are younger and probably better, right? Ross says, not sure of the stats, but when Endo wasn't in the team, were we worse, I believe? I've heard that about Endo and Joe Gomez. Liz, I'm going to miss the dancing giraffe as well, man. Joel Matip, for me, is the most underrated center back this league has seen over the last decade. He is so good. He is so good, guys. Joel Matip was unbelievable next to Van Dijk. Van Dijk and Joel Matip, the best center back pairing of the last 10 years in this league. Quite possibly the world. It's hard to say, though, because there have been some good Real Madrid center back pairings, and it's really tough to say that. But Premier League wise, guys, Van Dijk, Matip from 2018 to 2022, even though Matip was injured for like 50% of that, unbelievable. Sir Oswald has a good take here. Buy a new CDM, but keep Endo. This is another thing that I was talking about with the buddy of mine yesterday. He's very much in the boat that Klopp hasn't been backed. We don't have the depth that other teams have. Rightly so. Can't disagree with the depth aspect of it, right? So, and I completely lost my train of thought with that. Michael Ramsey. Yeah, he certainly was, wasn't he? He had a how many? He's had like 3 own goals, hasn't he? I feel like I do remember a lot of own goals from Joel Matip. But looking at the depth, I cannot remember where I was going with that. I cannot remember. We were talking about how he doesn't back, or the owners didn't back Klopp, and we didn't have the depth, and so that's why we struggled with injuries, and we had these periods of time where we had Reece Williams and Ozan Kabak starting at the back. Right? I know that was a while ago, but you think about that and you're like, damn, they're not wrong. Right? And I've very much been in the boat that I think people overstate how bad FSG have been for supporting Klopp. But I do agree to a certain extent that our depth hasn't always been there. I do agree, because when you do have injuries, right? For example, you look at Man City's defense. I just want to pull up just so I'm not missing anybody. I would like to really chat about Man City's defense because here we go, squad. Okay. So you got John Stones, Nathan Ake, Akanji, Ruben Diaz, Vardiol. Kid- The, and I'm talking center backs here, right? One, two, three, four, five. Those are five center backs that are extremely good center backs. Okay. And a lot of those guys can play out wide in the back line as well. And they're good. They're good players. Now let's go to Liverpool real quick. All right. Let's look at the squad. And you look at our center backs. We actually have. Why are all these guys listed as defenders, guys? They have Callum Scanlon listed as a defender. Am I crazy? They have Bajcetic listed as a defender, not a midfielder. All right. So Joel Matip, Van Dijk, Gomez, who really isn't even a center back anymore, Kanate, right? Dude. And then you go to Reese Williams, Kwanzaa's okay. But I'm looking at that center back list versus what Man City have. And our starting center backs might be better, right? You could say, Van Dijk is by and large better than everyone, but it's very top heavy. If it's not Van Dijk and Kanate starting, and Kwanzaa's been great, but you look strictly at the drop off to the next level. You're looking at Jarrell Kwanzaa and Joe Gomez because Matip's injured. Okay. There's too big of a drop off in that depth chart. You look at Man City, right? If Ruben Diaz is injured, you still have Manuel Akanji, John Stones, Nathan Ake, Vardiol. These are all players that there's not a ginormous gap. And I think that's where Liverpool have fallen short, is they tend to have an extremely strong starting 11 on paper, probably the best in the Premier League, right? Obviously, Man City are great. But they prefer the youth players to fill in the depth chart, which is a great model to have. It really is. It works. And it's very exciting to see youth academy players come up into the team. But when you have periods of injury, guys, what happens? There's a fall off. And granted, from December to February, when we were starting Connor Bradley, when we had to play, when we played Ben Doak, we were playing well. But I don't like seeing that big of a drop off in depth. And I think that's the scariest part at times with injuries, because injuries happen. That's why you should have depth. That's why you should prepare. If you're looking at Kanate, Van Dijk, and Matip, and even Joe Gomez has just played wide this year so much that I don't even consider him a center back anymore. It's weird. So you have three center backs plus Kwanzaa, right? One of those guys gets injured. It's unbelievable, the drop off. And so that is an issue that Slot's going to have to deal with. He's going to have to bring in more depth. And if you do sell Salah, if you do get rid of McAllister, which I cannot see, I saw there was something saying, and I'll pull it up here. There was something saying, guys, that he has a release clause of 70 million. Of 70 million. Okay. Without Cruz and Modric, they're looking to sign Alexis McAllister. 70 million release clause to me would be an unbelievable steal for Madrid. But to me, you cannot let that happen. Okay? Real Madrid have taken Bellingham. They've taken Tchouaméni. And really, those are really the only two that they've kind of taken from under us, right? Like Klopp was really trying to pursue Tchouaméni. The links were heavy. Maybe you can say he was never going to come to us. That's fine. But Bellingham came out and said the final, right? Who knows if the PR said you're going to go out and when we introduce you as a player of the club, you're going to say, hey, it was the final that made my decision. That's fine. Okay. We cannot let Madrid get away with one of our probably best midfielder this season for 70 million. Even if you do double your profit. No, not happening. Sign an extension, this offseason. Okay. And Aylor said, Aylor, I hope you're right. McAllister has no release clause. And you know what? Who's reporting this? So it's anything Liverpool, who this is DP Sports Radio, who let's see how many followers. 15,000. That's not good enough for me. And the lineups have just dropped for Liverpool. And let's see what these lineups are here. All right. Let's go home. Come on, baby. Oh, wow. Look at the welcome. Look at the welcome, guys, for Jurgen Klopp's last game at the club. God, I love this team, man. Starting 11, guys, for the final game of the season in our new ugly ass uniforms. Maybe they look better on the players on the pitch, guys. I really don't know, but I'm not a fan. And this mouse is garbage. I'm trying to scroll down and look how slow it's moving. All right. I hate when they do it by the numbers, guys. Do it by the position. All right, Allison in goal. You got Van Dijk, Kwanzaa, Robbo, and Trent. Midfield of Endo, McAllister, and Elliott. And then you have Salah, Gakpo, Diaz up front. Darwin benched again. Let's see what the bench is looking like. Gomez, Kanate, Soboslai, Nunez, Jones, Jota, Gravenberch, Bradley. And you know what? Going back to the depth chart, the depth talk, looking at that bench, that's actually an extremely strong bench, right? But it's funny because a lot of those guys I would start over who's in our starting 11. So if you're thinking strongest 11, right? Strictly on skill, not form. You're putting in Kanate, you're putting in Soboslai, and you're probably putting in Nunez or Jota. So then you look at our bench, and it's probably Elliott on the bench, Kwanzaa, right? Then you have a really weird bench. But right now, our bench looks pretty damn strong. And it's the last game of the season. It's the last game under Jurgen Klopp. It's the last time that we get to watch Jurgen Klopp manage Liverpool Football Club. I'm going to try to be as genuine as possible and not like overdo it and just kind of talk about my feelings with this. Because you guys know I had no agenda coming in today. And I just want to thank everyone for staying through another season here. I really do appreciate you guys. I mean, this started as a after work podcast back in 2018. I would come home and for 30 minutes just record myself talking. And then it turned into recording myself with Steven doing FaceTimes. And if you go back and you watch some of our very first videos, you'll cringe. It's bad. The banter's kind of good, but the video format is just bad. But anyways, what I'm getting at is I'm thankful for you guys. And I appreciate you sticking with us. And more than that, you think about where we've come since that time under Jurgen Klopp. You think about how he took over this team with Ricky Lambert, Christian Benteke, Markovic, Joe Allen, Mamadou Sakho, Skirtle, legends, by the way. Who the hell was our right back before Nathaniel Klein? Glenn Johnson? Jesus Christ. Our left back, I don't even know who our left back was before Robertson. We brought in Joe Gomez, and he played left back for a minute. But regardless, we had this team that was so average, so mid-table. And Jurgen Klopp was able to bring a team where he didn't even add them yet, but he took that team to a Europa League final, a fourth place finish, and just immediately turned this club around. Did exactly what he was supposed to do. Doubters to believers. And personally speaking, not to be cliche, but as soon as he took over, the belief was there. I trusted him and I believed in him, right? Didn't matter who was on the pitch. For me, I bought into Klopp. And I believe that no matter who played, we had a chance because of Jurgen Klopp. No one felt that with Brendan Rodgers, right? I didn't feel that way with Brendan Rodgers. For me, it is so rare for a manager or even a person to be that magnetic, that charismatic, and that effective on a club. Came in, he won every trophy he could possibly win with the club. He returned us to European glory. First Premier League in 30 years, whether you want to put an asterisk on that or not. Okay. Always, always battling for titles. Okay. We missed the title by a point 2 years. In two years, 2 separate years, guys. 11 millimeters. Okay. People look back, they don't realize Man City's about to win the league with what? 91 points is what they could max at. We had 2 years, right? What do we have? 98, 97 points? Unheard of, and we didn't win the league. It's so unfortunate because people are going to look back at Jurgen Klopp and they're going to say, oh, he didn't maximize his time, right? He was here for 8 full seasons, almost 9. I'll call it 9. And he won one of everything. He won 2 Carabao Cups, but that's just not good enough. And I'm thinking to myself, but think about how close he came for all these other things, right? The margins. He could have had 3 Premier Leagues, 1 point away. All right. We could have had 3 Champions League finals. Okay. If Salah doesn't get injured by Ramos, we win that. No question. We win the first one. No question about it. We were so much better than Madrid that game. You can question the Karius one, right? Was that the same year? I think that was the same year. Maybe it wasn't. I'm getting them mixed up, but that one was just embarrassing. I don't even know what happened. Maybe that was the same game. Regardless, the Sevilla Europa League final. Okay? The just what this guy has done with the club, Liverpool and Man City are the 2 best teams in the world. And they have been for so long. Right? Madrid absolutely up there. Right? They're probably the best team given their performance in Europe. But when people think about great teams, great managers, they're looking at Klopp and Pep right now. And I think for Liverpool to be this good for that long has just been such a privilege. And I'm truly honored to have been able to support the club during this time because this is so rare in sports. It's so difficult to make everything to gel at the right time and have success because you're going up against hundreds of teams with the same exact goal. You're going up in the best league in the world, trying to recruit the best players to make it gel on the pitch. But then you have to find someone that makes it work day to day, not upsetting the fans. And we found that with Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp brought everyone together. The fans loved him. The players loved him. Opposition loves Jurgen Klopp. He's not a polarizing person. We are truly blessed. I just want to say thank you to Jurgen. I really do. It's a sad day, but ultimately we should just be thankful. This guy has been unbelievable. And that's really it, guys. That's it. I mean, that's it. I just want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in. Yeah, 115. Let's hope City gets held accountable because that would be wonderful. But guys, make sure you tune in here in about half an hour. We'll be going live right before the match for the watch along, and then after we'll be going live as like the reaction to Jurgen Klopp doing his final lap, right? And maybe I'll get emotional with that, right? Right now I'm just kind of ranting, but it's just so weird. It's so weird that he's leaving. Right. But I think in a couple months' time, once the summer wears off or once the summer is done and we move into the next season, we're probably not gonna be sad. We're gonna be supportive of Slot, obviously, but we're gonna be excited and motivated. And I really think that next season's gonna be a great year. That's all I have to say. Thank you to all of you guys for supporting the channel. Um, just tune into the watch along, guys. Tune into the watch along. Come watch the final game of Jurgen Klopp's career with me in about half an hour. I look forward to seeing you there. And until next time, Reds, take care.